Hey folks, today's video is brought to you by my favorite body hair and facial trimmer ever, the Brio Beardscape, which I accidentally turned on right there. This thing absolutely rules. It's got a super high powered motor, cuts through my Arab facial hair like nothing. It's got a really long life battery that I only charge on average once a year. I've been advertising the Beardscape for 3 years, so I'm about to get to my third charge ever. It's incredible how long this thing lasts. I carry it with me on every filming trip. It's lightweight and comes in that pouch. And you've got the interchangeable blades. This one is the millimeter length adjustable blade. Then there's attachments so I can do the goatee. And there's the zero blade for trimming and edging. Don't use that on your bits. By the way, that's for trimming and edging around your face. Don't use it on your bits. Trust me, that's the warning. It's very, very sharp. Hear me on this. But I love the Beardscape. It comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, and it comes with a 2-year warranty. So you can take it, try it. You won't regret it. You're not going to give it back, and it's going to last forever. The battery will outlast the warranty in many cases, and it's a great gift for yourself for the holidays or for another man in your life. They've got a special deal going on right now, only while supplies last. Get the blackout Beardscape or get the gray Beardscape and get the zero blade for free, $25 value if you use the link in our video description. I love this thing and I'm going to keep using it whether they pay me to or not because it's amazing. Now, enjoy this video and Merry Christmas. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to a later than normal, so the light is a little hot, but still just a lovely November day in the canyons. Today I've got, hello Porsche. Today I've got the privilege of driving, just a sexy bitch of a car. This is the new Taycan Sport Turismo GTS. And now that I will have driven this, it means I've driven every GTS model they offer. They now offer every single range of car in a driver-focused GTS trim. Just like all the other cars, GTS sits in between 4S or S and Turbo, offering a driver-focused combination of options for a little less money than if you were to spec those options individually. One thing Taycan GTS offers that is the only place you can get it in the Taycan range is the Sport Turismo body style. We drove the Cross Turismo body style, which is what we affectionately call the Taycan Outback. It's a little lifted, it's got the cladding, it's got very mild off-road chops, and it really would be great for somewhere where you live with potholes, bumpy roads, driving in snow, things like that. Now, the Sport Turismo offers the lowered sort of sporty chassis, no body cladding, but with the station wagon roof. And in my opinion, it looks sexy as hell. There is no reason to not get that roof if you are considering a Taycan. I'm driving a German spec car, which means it has no sunroof. There's a base model aluminum roof on the German cars. US cars are going to be all glass roof. And speaking of the glass roof, they have an optional LED tint glass, which has it can go dark or light on the touchscreen. It's very, very cool, and that's coming out later this year. Other GTS things: appearance package, new front and rear fascias, blacked out trim, RS Spider Design 21-inch wheels, which actually offer a 5-kilogram savings, Pirelli Corsa tires, sport design front lip, turbo rear bumper, but with black lower fascia, blacked out badges, Alcantara or Race Tex interior with contrast red or chalk stitching. This one looks great. It's basically an Alcantara or Race Tex explosion in here. It's on everything. There's beautiful matte carbon trim. One thing I've never mentioned in Taycan, but I was pointed out this morning, is in the B-pillar here, there's actually a really nice cutout for your elbow. The doors in the Taycan are pretty small, and so tall drivers actually sit behind the door, so your elbow is aft of the door. they've actually thought to make a cutout in the B-pillar, so it's really comfy for your elbow. That's very cool. Standard 18-way adaptive sports seats. And then there's the powertrain. 590 horsepower all-wheel drive with overboost, 626 pound-feet of torque. The torque number matches the turbo. Standard regular mode is 509 horsepower. So you put it in Sport Plus, you launch it, you go flat, you get that overboost for a period of time. The standard power is 509. As you'll see, fast as fuck, doesn't really matter. 0 to 60 in 3.5, top speed 161 miles an hour, and the acceleration of the standard roof and the Sport Turismo roof is exactly the same. Standard brakes, 390 millimeter front, 358 millimeter rear, although this one has the optional PCCB ceramic brakes. Base price of the GTS is $133,000 because this particular car has a Porsche dynamic chassis control and ceramic brakes and some other options here and there. This thing's about $165,000. Ton of money, yes, but the last turbo I drove, Turbo S I drove, was almost $200,000, and so this gets you, in reality, most of the way to the turbo in all the ways that matter, but it saves you about $60,000 in the process. Plus, it's the only way for now to get the Sport Turismo body style. So, enough yapping, and how about we do some driving? We will go Sport Plush Air Suspension, so height adjustable depending on what drive mode you're in. You can also adjust it independently if you so choose. And putting it in either Sport Plus or range mode will get you the lowest chassis. The Sport suspension puts you in the middle. It's very smart. It's very smart the way it does it. You also have the passenger display, so you can make them crap their pants with data. It's important. All right, here we go. Let's just do a launch. And launch control, go. You hear it hit second gear there? Feels pretty good. Not so fast that I feel nauseous. If you remember the Turbo S I drove with the 750 horsepower, so fast I literally got nauseous on the drive. This thing, sort of the Goldilocks, as the GTSs typically are. Fast enough where it really feels like you're moving, but not so fast that you're actually going to make yourself throw up. You know, it's sort of a what do you need thing. Cornering speeds are exceptional. Obviously, like other Taycans, battery is in the floor, so you have the center of gravity lower than a Boxster or Cayman. And even though they're 5,000-pound vehicles, the distribution of that weight is very, very low, so it gives you an exceptionally planted feel. 305/21s at the rear. Big, meaty tires. I forget the fronts. I want to say they're 295s, but they might be 275s. I have forgotten because I am driving very fast, you see. Steering feel is excellent. It is the least digital of the digital steering cars. You know, we're in the EV space. It's all electric steering, obviously. But this is tuned like you would expect a $150,000 Porsche to be tuned. The steering wheel is excellent. The weight of the wheel is excellent. It is a superb handling vehicle. Even if you don't consider the weight, it's still a superb handling vehicle. If you do consider the weight, it is mind-blowing how good the handling actually is. Yep. Great trail braking into the corner, but like all fast EVs, you do have to watch your pace. The lack of sound and the lack of gears, I mean at least controllable gears, do make it difficult for you to determine how fast you're entering that corner. And although this is the stickiest, grippiest EV of them all, you still have to make that analysis. You still have to check. You will not survive any corner at any speed. Physics doesn't work like that. Can you hear the Space Jetsons noises? The Space Jetsons noises have been retuned, literally, cyclist, retuned for the GTS. It's louder, it's more aggressive, and it's angrier. You can, of course, toggle it off in the menu, but it's very Space Jetsons-y. Jesus, it gathers speed at an extraordinary pace. It's wild how fun it is to drive. I mean, it's really, really, really fun. It's really fast. It's really planted. It's really responsive. And look, I'm not going to lie and say I wouldn't rather be up here in a Boxster Spider or a GT3. I would. But the breadth of capability is extraordinary. The fact that if you're sitting in traffic, it's a serene, spa-like environment. And then you can come up here and send it. And now I'm not doing it. Well, this Forester up here is really going. For a Forester, this guy's moving. Although I am not participating in the activity today because it doesn't really benefit our video, other folks on this media launch. Can I turn around here? Yeah. Ooh, it's a little nasty there. There's some Rockies. This has rear steer, so the turning radius will be excellent. We'll just do it up here. As I was in the middle of saying, oh, that truck. It's okay, we'll wait. The other participants on this media program are going to Willow Springs, where they're doing 6-lap sessions. And if you know anything about some of the other very fast EVs, whether we're talking specifically about Tesla or whether we're talking about even the Ford Mach-E, you know that they're not great at sustained performance, right? They overcook the brakes, they overcook the motors. In the case of some of the Tesla Plaids, they fly off the track and crash because the brakes go away completely, because they're definitely under-braked. This has ceramics, and Porsche is confident enough that they're willing to allow journalists to run 6-lap sessions at Willow Springs on a hot day. And so the idea with the Taycan is that the performance isn't just a dragster, that it's a sustained performance that you could use on a track. I don't know about doing half-hour track sessions, but I think if the weather was right, it would be possible. But it's a more well-rounded performance metric. That's what I'm talking about. And also, there's the quality of vehicle that you would expect for the price point. When you get in this car, even before you start driving, just sitting in it, looking at the stitching, looking at the materials quality, the tightness of everything, the door slam, you know, you go, oh yeah, okay, this is a $150,000 car, and it feels like it. So to me, those things are very important. Much more important than whether you have, you know, horsepower that goes beyond a certain level of actual usability. I like fast cars, don't get me wrong, but I'm also realistic with what type of horsepower is actually usable in a sustained way. And there's a lot of cars that have way more power than they need. They don't have the other well-rounded attributes to back up that power, and that power may or may not be sustainable anyway. Good trail braking. I mean, this has ceramics, obviously, so they're going to be a little more effective than the standard brakes, but it's not like the standard brakes are going to be bad. Oh, this rips. When you put your foot on the floor, it gathers speed at a real high level of pace. Very, very good. My favorite thing about the Taycan is how the whole cabin is sunken down in between the chassis, like in between the wheel arches. That really gives me this feeling of stability, of being low to the ground and really making the best use of that weight. I'm not moving around on top of the chassis. Even the Audi e-tron GT, which is a nice handling car, it just doesn't have that sunk to the road feeling that I like about Taycan. Brakes are very, very good. There's our truck. And what I will do is I will wait. I will make myself a gap so that we can enjoy the pace. We'll count to 20. Oh, the German spec cars have the convex mirrors and the US cars don't. And after a year of driving like German spec pre-production cars, I got so spoiled by it. I drove a US spec car. I was like, what's wrong with these mirrors? They suck. The US cars don't get the convex glass. So if you own a Porsche or are buying a Porsche, what you want to do is go to Suncoast, which is a place that sells Porsche parts, and order the German spec mirror glass. Don't worry, once you own the car, it doesn't affect anybody. They just can't sell it like that. But you can buy it like that and change it yourself. It's really easy, and it will really improve your motoring experience. I promise. It's not expensive. Just go to Suncoast and get that. I think that gap should be sufficient. Here we go. Space, Jetsons noises. I wish I had the kind of money where I could daily one of these. I don't, which is why I have a Mach-E that costs a third of what this costs. In pure utilitarian value for money, the Mach-E is the best value. In terms of build quality, range, and performance, that's the best value out there. But this thing looks, feels, and drives expensive. Like, you spend the money on it if you've got it, and it feels like something that should cost that much. It doesn't feel like you're being taken for a ride at all. There is value in it. I just don't have enough to get in the game, unfortunately. I can only spend this kind of money on a car if it's going to turn into more money, and that's probably not the case with one of these, but it is delightful. And if I was in the six-figure daily game, this would be the game right here. And in my opinion, the Turbo and Turbo S versions, although they're great, like, it's not like I could really go that much quicker. And if I did go quicker, I'd probably be making myself very, very nauseous. I got really nauseous driving the Turbo S up here. I did. I didn't feel very good afterwards. It was so fast, I found it mildly unpleasant. This is about as quick as I am comfortable going. Because you remember, you still have to brake for corners. It's not, the world isn't a runway. You do still have to brake for corners. And if you're going 30 or 40 miles an hour quicker every straightaway, you will really be making the brakes do some work. So anyway, that's the GTS Sport Turismo. I love it, as you can tell. It is an unbelievably high quality product. Here, I'll show you the turning radius again. Rear steer rules. You can't make a U-turn just on the two lanes, but you can do it with a third, which is very, very good. I love the Sport Turismo roof. Having now experienced the practicality of that hatchback and the extra rear seat room, I would not want to go back from that. But I don't have a use for the extra ride height, really. And I like the sporty chassis, so the fact that Porsche is offering that together. I think eventually they will probably offer the Sport Turismo body style in other configurations besides GTS. But for now, you know, just like I said with 911 GTS, it's a very familiar experience to the turbo version, but it offers a lot of everything you need at a price a little more palatable than the turbo. And if you're reasonable about your expectations, this is probably the Goldilocks sweet spot. So thank you to Porsche for letting me have a go. Thank you to you guys for sitting through it, and I'll see you later. Bye.
And remember,
Always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.